What if I told you that Saudi Arabia has the Middle East's first and currently only high-speed railway? Today I'll be taking you inside the luxurious Haramain high-speed railway, giving a comprehensive look at the sleek business class interior, onboard food service and more as we speed at 300 km per hour across the deserts of Saudi Arabia, travelling from Islam's holiest city Mecca to the Prophet's city of Medina. Now join me as the journey continues.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,
Salaam Wa Alaikum and welcome to Masjid al-Haram here in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, where I was in the very blessed and fortunate position to have completed the Umrah pilgrimage here in Islam's holiest city. But the time has sadly come to leave Mecca, and I'll be doing it the fast way, by high-speed train of course. And we start here, from Makkah Station at the southern end of the network. Along with the rest of the Haramain high-speed railway, Makkah Station opened on the 11th of October 2018 and is located in Al-Razaifa, around a 13-minute taxi ride from Masjid al-Haram, where I was, and is also linked by a local shuttle bus, though this takes around 50 minutes to get to the centre, so something to bear in mind. The impressive design of the stations across the railway are inspired by ancient Islamic architectural traditions of the region, with Mecca being no exception. The design also takes into account the extreme heat Saudi Arabia receives, which is more prominent on the platforms as we'll see later. Towards the entrance is a large information desk, where the friendly staff can signpost you to areas within the station, with the support services desk being located a little bit further on for wheelchair and luggage services. There are also plenty of shops and amenities, ranging from Arabian old stores to cafes and restaurants, many of which will be familiar to Westerners, though there is a lot more on offer on the lower level where the car park and taxis can also be accessed from. Inside the station, tickets can be purchased either from kiosks on the lower level or from ticket machines near the entrance, though a number of them were out of use when I travelled due to what I presume is ongoing maintenance works in part of the station concourse. No need to worry though, as I pre-booked my ticket online from the dedicated website, which is the best way to book this train, but I'll get into this further towards the end of the video. No prizes for guessing which service is mine if you were paying attention, the 11 AM departure to Medina from platform 2. Services from Mecca to Medina operate roughly hourly from 7 AM to 9 PM each day, though there are some intervals where there are 2 services per hour, such as 1 PM or 2 PM. Access to the main boarding area and platforms is provided through the ticket barriers, which you need to scan your ticket's QR code to pass through like so. There used to be security protocols along the railway in its first few years of operation, like you would see on Spanish high-speed rail. However, these didn't seem operational when I travelled, strangely enough. Maybe they've since been removed? The departures area is located on the upper level, as well as the Haramain Business Lounge, which my business class ticket grants me access to. Any business class ticket will grant you access, regardless of it being the fully flexible fare or the discounted advance fares like mine. The lounge here is just as regal in design as the rest of the station and is a great place to relax and wait for your train. There's also a decent selection of food and drink, with everything being included with the lounge access. However, I just got a few snacks for the road. The boarding of the train to Medina is announced half an hour before departure, and it's time to head down to the platforms. Those in second class or economy tickets can use the waiting area here, which is more than sufficient for the large influx of passengers using this station daily. And straight ahead is the train which will be taking us up to Medina this morning, which was built by Spanish manufacturer Talgo and is of the Talgo 350 model, which is already operating successfully commercially in Spain, albeit with modifications to handle the extreme conditions faced in Saudi Arabia, including resistance of up to 50 degrees, an auxiliary power supply to keep the air conditioning running in the event of a power failure, and blowers close to the wheels to clear sand off the track, hence why the trains look so clean despite wearing a white livery, which I have to say I rather like. Some of the power cars, however, feature an advertising livery for the SABB in a predominantly red colour scheme, which doesn't wear as well in my opinion. 36 of these sets were built, with one being a dedicated royal train for the Saudi royal family. Each set consists of 2 power cars and 12 articulated coaches, which follow the same single-axle wheel profile Talgo is infamously known for worldwide, as they don't usually ride particularly well, but I'll reserve my judgment for when we get on the move. These trains are the final piece of the puzzle for the Haramain railway project, named as such from the Arabic term referring to Mecca and Medina, the 2 holiest cities in Islam, which it links on a daily basis. The project has had numerous setbacks over the course of its construction, having originally meant to open in 2012, with it eventually opening to the public in 2018, providing an efficient means of transportation for Islamic pilgrims for both Hajj and Umrah. Okay, let's get on board. Another ticket check is done by the attendant just before boarding, and the low floor design of these Talgo coaches makes level boarding possible with the platforms. Nice! Business class is in a 2x1 configuration, and I really like the interior design. Seats are either in tables like this, or solo seats like mine, the latter comprising most of the layout. Today's route will see us travel along the full length of the high-speed railway, with only one stop at Jeddah, following which we speed along the Saudi desert at 300 km per hour non-stop as we head towards Medina, where we're expected to arrive at 20 past 1, taking 2 hours and 20 minutes to cover the 453 km distance. Not bad. We depart Mecca on time at 11 AM Saudi time.
Dear guests, welcome on board Haramain High-Speed Railway. This train will be heading towards Medina Station, stopping at Al Salamaniya, Jeddah Station. We wish you a pleasant trip.
ضيوفنا الكرام، نستمع الآن إلى دعاء السفر، وهو من الأدعية التي كان يدعو بها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عند سفره.
Dear guests, you will now hear a supplication, in which Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, recited upon his travels.
Shortly after leaving Mecca, we pass one of the maintenance facilities for the Talgo 350s, and one thing you'll notice as we go by is that the infrastructure is similar to that in Spain. That's because construction of the line was done by a consortium led by ADIF and Renfe, the former responsible for the railway infrastructure in Spain and the latter being the Spanish national rail operator. Spain operates Europe's largest high-speed network and the second largest in the world after China, so this seemed to be a sensible choice. Before long, we pick up speed as we begin to cross Saudi's desert terrain, eventually reaching the Talgo 350's maximum service speed of 300 km per hour, though this line is designed for 320 km per hour and even 360 km per hour operation, but is limited to 300 km per hour in passenger service. I have to say as well that whilst the ride quality isn't perfect, this is still a lot smoother than some of the other Talgo trains I've ridden before, and that's even sitting next to the wheel profile. It was around this point the attendant handed out wet towels and Saudi dates to business class passengers, as well as a coffee as a complimentary hot drink. Okay, let's check out the interior here in business class in more detail. Legroom on the seats is very good, and the footrests are a lot less visible here than on other high-speed trains I've travelled on before. The seat itself is very comfortable and well ergonomically designed. The adjustable cushion on the winged headrest is also soft and plush if you fancy a bit of rest. Each seat has foldable armrests on both sides, with the aisle side containing the recline lever below for increased comfort, and the window side containing the USB-A socket for charging devices, though the duo seats contain both USB and 3-pin power sockets, so not sure why both weren't included on the solo seats too. These also contain headphone sockets for the onboard entertainment screens, and being a train principally for Islamic pilgrims, there are numerous video and audio channels for Quran verses and prayer recitations, as well as information about the train and the journey. Just below this is the tray table for placing food or laptops, and also includes a fold-down section which acts as a cup holder. There is also a seat back pocket for storing some items, though being a fixed solid design, it's rather limited on space. Coat hooks can also be found at the back of the seat, as can small personal litter bins on the window side. Reading lights are found above, just below the overhead luggage racks for storing personal items that fit, though these can also be covered in advertising on some trains, as you can see. Larger items can be stored on the racks located just next to the vestibules. Finally, there's a draw-down window blind which is useful in reducing the harsh sunlight which often plagues Saudi Arabia. Thankfully it's not so bad today. All in all, this is a great business class interior despite some things not being to my taste. Nevertheless, this is a very relaxing way to travel. Almost 20 minutes later, we begin to slow down as we arrive into Jeddah's Al-Sulaimaniya station, our first and only intermediate stop on the route to Medina today. Less than a year after the Haramain high-speed railway's opening in September 2019, this station sadly suffered a huge fire and was completely destroyed as a result, eventually reopening in July 2021, a few months after the service was relaunched following its suspension due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Jeddah is also as far south on the railway you can go if you're not Muslim. Mecca is only open to Muslims such as myself, but Medina, excluding the Prophet's Mosque, has been opened up to non-Muslim visitors in recent years. The railway also navigates through the Jeddah suburbs, and we can see the branch to Jeddah's King Abdulaziz Airport just to the left. Jeddah is the closest airport to Mecca, so the Haramain high-speed railway acts as a useful link to here for travellers going to and from the city. The airport also has a branch to and from Medina, which can be seen just to the left as it rejoins the main trunk of high-speed line to continue north. In the distance is the King Abdullah Sports Centre Stadium, or Al Johara Stadium, one of the biggest stadiums in Asia, which hosts Al Ahli and Al Ittihad football clubs since its opening in 2014, and even hosted 2023 FIFA Club World Cup matches. Before long, we passed through King Abdullah Economic City Station, the least used station on the line, with only a handful of trains a day serving it. One of the only 6 mega projects launched in Saudi Arabia in 2005, it unfortunately did not attract the significant investment nor become the country's logistics and manufacturing hub, despite the original vision for the city when the concept was first launched. It is still home to a population of 7,000 people in the present day. Afterwards, it's back to high-speed running, where we again reach speeds of up to 300 km per hour. Surprisingly, I found this section to be a lot smoother than the section between Mecca and Jeddah, which itself was already smooth, which is very impressive. One thing I noticed throughout the train was the amount of wheelchair spaces, with all business class coaches including small areas near the vestibules. Larger spaces are located just next to the wheelchair accessible toilet, which in itself is quite a big space as you'd expect. Everything was immaculately clean and functioning properly. Also included in the wheelchair accessible toilet are baby changing facilities, a coat hook and an electrical shaver socket. Standard toilets are also located across the vestibules, though I was surprised they were not gender segregated. These are naturally smaller than the accessible toilet and were again impeccably clean, so no complaints. The vestibules also have tip-up seats, though I believe these are mostly for the crew and when trains become too busy. Economy class is in a 2x2 layout with a mixture of airline and table seats. Minus a different fabric design, the seats are no different to those used on the S102 or S112 Spanish AVE trains, this train of course being part of the same family. There is also a cafe car on board where you can buy snacks and drinks, as well as sandwiches if you're feeling slightly more hungry. The menu can be viewed through a QR code at the counter and the prices aren't too outrageous for a train. I've also linked this in the description below. This is also best accessed through the onboard Wi-Fi, which I found to work okay, even in the areas where 4G was almost non-existent. I went for a small chocolate cake bar, as something slightly more substantial is about to be delivered by the attendant. Business class passengers have a meal included in the ticket, which included lamb, chickpeas, cake and bread. It was delicious, and of course, everything's halal. Food services are provided using food trolleys like this one, which was located in the vestibules. The mountainous and desert landscape is really something on this route. It's actually incredible to me that a high-speed railway is even able to run across such extreme conditions, but the desire to transport Islamic pilgrims across the Haramain is what made it happen, which is an astounding achievement. And before long, we're coming to the end of our time on the train today, and to some surprisingly gloomy weather here in Medina. Overall, I was greatly pleased with the Haramain high-speed railway, and it's no surprise as to why the service has a 99% satisfaction index, as it does what it says on the tin. Mecca to Medina in 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is how rail travel should be. For this trip in business class, I booked around a week in advance on the dedicated website, and managed to get one of the advanced discounted fares of 190 Saudi Riyal, which is around £38. And considering what you get with the ticket price, this is pretty decent value for money. Economy class, the lower option, costs around 86 Saudi Riyal, or around £18 in advance, which isn't too bad, though both classes can be very expensive when advances are not available, at around double the price, which is the only real shame about this train. Anyway, we end this trip arriving into Medina 3 minutes early at 1:17. Now it's over to you. Have you travelled on the Haramain high-speed railway before? Will you consider giving it a go if you ever find yourself in Saudi Arabia? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like and share it to aid the channel's growth, as well as subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content such as this weekly. Now that I've arrived in Medina, it's time to head over to Masjid al-Nabawi, the Prophet's Mosque in the centre, through a 20-minute taxi. Thanks so much for coming with me on this trip, and I look forward to bringing you with me on my next one.